Just like that, we're rolling. Cheers. Saúde. Welcome back to Beach Access, to our conclusion, our wrap-up of a phenomenal Elite 16 in Joao Passoa, Brazil. Just the second time Joao Passoa has hosted a Beach Pro Tour event since its debut in 1996. And Kyle, I thought the city did a magnificent job. The crowd filled up the stands from qualifier day to an electric atmosphere through the gold medal matches, a Brazil women's final, the second straight time that's happened in Joao Passoa. Congratulations, parabéns, to Victoria Lopez and Tamila Corradelli. We will touch on them in a bit. And congratulations to Sharif Yunus and Ahmed Tijan, who evidently won over the crowd.
Yes.
Won a silver medal, lost to Anders Mol and Christian Sorum. But the city of Joao Passoa, if you haven't been, I can't recommend it enough, Kyle. I thought they did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I agree with you. 10 out of 10. I mean, the first night we came out here to watch games, I had chills watching some of the night matches, just feeling the energy, hearing some of the athletes talk about, I think it was Ahmed Tijan that said, there's nothing quite like the energy here in Brazil. There's something in the air, there's something in the SIE, and the fans were bumping all weekend long, and the night games were just... something different about it. So again, credit to them, credit to the tournament directors and developers and everything that made this event really, really special, because my first time to Brazil, and man, I loved it. Very memorable.
An unforgettable one. And even better news for the crowd. I love it when the beach volleyball on the court matches the level that the crowd is bringing them. And this could be a big example of recency bias. But the gold medal match on the men's side is up there in one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah.
At the moment, my number one ranked is the World Championship Finals between Bruno and Alisson and Reinier Numador and Christian Varenhorst in 2015. Still the match I've gone to for my favorite of all time. The gold medal match between the men, won by Anders Mol and Christian Sorum against Qatar, Sharif Yunus and Ahmed Tijan. Kyle, I got that as a top 5 instant classic, must-watch TV.
Yeah, it was the comebacks from both teams. Sharif and Ahmed in that first set, they were down 19-14.
18-12.
18-12, thank you.
19-14.
18-12.
2017.
I mean, we were writing them off in the commentator booth like, well, this one's probably wrapped up. Norway's probably wrapped this one up. We'll go on to set number 2. Start eating our words up in the stands. Play after play from Sharif and Ahmed. And again, like you said, the Brazilian fans adopted Sharif and Ahmed. Every big play, looking to the crowd, looking for that love, and they were getting it in the chants of blah, 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 Qatar. I've never heard anything like that, a home crowd ever changing their home crowd cheer for another country.
Completely shifted.
Let alone for Qatar. And in that third set, Travis, Norway came back from 10-13 in the third. When you thought that Qatar had taken the momentum and taken the energy, Norway came crawling back. And once we got tied up like 15-all, 16-16, I had a feeling that, this is not good. This is not good for Qatar.
And in Hamburg a couple months ago, we saw the debut of backwards hat Anders Mol. He was a little bit playful, a little bit silly. He had a little neck injury in Hamburg, and so he's a little bit limited, breaking out different shots and everything. This wasn't backwards hat Anders Mol. This was vintage GOAT Anders Mol, where after their semifinal win over Sweden, the Princes, who have been trying to take the crown from Norway, and some say maybe they have with their Olympic gold medal, beat Sweden for the first time all year in a very well-played semifinal matchup, but Anders was optioning, something that we don't see him do a ton. He was blocking balls left and right. He was siding out. He was doing everything. When I went on court to chat with the boys after, I said, Christian, how do you guys just manage to win these matches? And he said, I have Anders. And I couldn't do it without Anders. And sometimes he is just being incredibly polite, Christian Sorum.
Yes.
In this case, I think that he very much meant it, that Anders Mol, not single-handedly, won this tournament for them, but he took over against Sweden. He took over against Qatar. It was one of the single most dominant performances I've seen from Anders this calendar year.
Sure, I agree with you. 7 big blocks from Anders Mol in that final match, and just seemed like when he ended up touching the ball, making the right play, scoring when he needed to, Christian got served a bunch, but Anders inserted himself when need be, and Anders 35 blocks, 35 big blocks for the tournament, leading the whole tournament. Next, Sharif with 25.
Wow.
So that is quite a gap in the amount of blocks that the big Volley Viking secured. And yeah, he looked healthy. Christian looked healthy. Ton of power. We talked about Christian starting the tournament with a little bit more shots, saving the shoulder. And when it came to the semis of the finals, you saw a bit more feet from Christian, a bit more power. And it was like he's bringing more. He's got some left in the tank.
Got a lot left in the tank. So Anders Mol and Christian Storm, first time they've won back-to-back gold medals since the end of the 2022 season in Cape Town in Paris. So they are fully back. Sharif and Ahmed, also a huge congratulations to them. Their first podium since Ostrava of 2023. They have been knocking on the door. And as Sharif said after their semifinal win, it's about damn time. It's still shocking to me that they haven't had more podiums because they've been in the quarterfinals. They've been winning pool virtually every single tournament. And I am at once heartbroken for that gold medal match. You go up 13-10 in the third set. You think it's a done deal. Yeah. But I'm also elated and stoked that they're back on the podium, back getting their silver medals, back drinking this champagne that we are also sharing, imbibing a little bit as we record this.
Yes, thank you, team, for the extra champagne. And again, kudos to Qatar. I've been talking about them all weekend long, thinking that this was going to be the tournament where they kind of shifted, turned the tide, and they did exactly that. And we talked yesterday about how efficient and how clean they're playing in these conditions, which were swirly, and we saw balls hit under the net and weird contacts, and they made it look easy. And it's definitely not easy, and credit to them, all the hard work they've been putting in and making this game look clean and fun. At the end of the day, the reason people love them is because they play with such joy, they play with such passion, and they're just showmen out there. And it's a pleasure to watch them play, and I'm congratulations to them on a second place.
And speaking of making it look easy, Victoria Lopez and Tamila Cordelli, new partnership here in Brazil, just their third tournament together as partners, their second Elite 16 medal. Victoria Lopez, first Elite gold medal of her career. Tamila, the second gold of her career in Elite 16, won her first in Cape Town, South Africa in 2022. And Kyle, it wasn't just that they won. It was a statement.
Yeah.
Where 5 of their last 6 sets from the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, they won by scores of 21-14 or worse. No one from the quarterfinals onward even scored more than 18. No one was ever really even close. And you're talking about a lot of exceptional teams. Tayana Lima, Talita Antunes, legends here. And they were never really in that final gold medal match. And Tamila took over at the net. Victoria Lopez took over in defense. And they were just crisp and sharp with all their touches. And you said Qatar made it look easy. So did Victoria and Tamila.
And usually as a tournament progresses, the teams get better. The matches should be getting harder. It really wasn't the case for Tamila and Victoria.
It was the reverse of that.
It was the reverse. They got much better, and they played better. The teams couldn't rise to the level, and credit to them, their ability to control the ball, to manage the shot-making ability of Victoria and Tamila around the court, their ability to dig, Victoria moving around the court. And yesterday we were watching Victoria, and I was like, she's playing the best right now. And then as today came, Tamila was like, whoa, pump the brakes, because I got something to say about that. She took Lexi Denenberg and put her out back and put the handcuffs on her. It was tough. And then even in the finals, you couldn't serve Tamila the ball. She was lights out everywhere. They were absolute joy to watch. And then every touch just looked so pure. Like I said on the broadcast, chef kiss everywhere for those girls.
Chef's kiss and a gold medal. So congratulations, parabéns to Tamila and Victoria. The Brazilian Federation, what are we going to do? Ana Patricia and Duda are out for the tournament. Barbara and Carol got knocked out early. Worry not, there is a new generation of talent with a new statement. The reload is already happening. New partnership, more gold medals being won by Brazil. And Kyle, the United States in a similar state. You talk about reload. Kim Hildreth and Tegan Van Gunst, breakout performance, a bronze medal won for them in their first Elite. They hadn't won a match in an Elite 16 main draw. What do? They come out, win all 3 matches in pool play, come back from down 14-19 in their quarterfinals to Agatha and Rebecca, score 7 straight points. Into the semifinals they go, drop the semi, come back. Tegan Van Gunst comes back from a little knee injury, something going on with her leg. Didn't look any worse for the wear in an All-American semifinal where they beat fellow Americans, Deanna Kraft and Lexi Denenberg, rookies on the Beach Pro Tour this season. A huge breakout tournament for both. This is Lexi and Deanna's first Elite 16 of their careers. Lose the first set in the qualifier and then march all the way back, just as Kim and Tegan did. They win their pool, win their quarterfinal. A thrilling match just behind us on court 2. One of the most raucous atmospheres Lexi and Deanna have said that they have played in. So, Kyle, Statement made by Victoria and Tomala. Yes, bigger statement made by a pair of relatively unheralded American teams.
Yeah, to come from the qualifier when you have 2 extra matches underneath your legs, a lot of fatigue. It's hot here. The sand is deep, which means more pain, more suffering on the body, dehydration, rampant in this tournament, and credit to them. They came through, they won their pools. We had 3 teams, including Sandra Ettlinger and Kim Vandeveld, also from the qualifier, winning the pool. So a bunch of firsts in this tournament, but Lexi Denenberg and Deanna Kraft put on a show. Lexi ended up leading the tournament in aces. She played phenomenal. Not her best performance in that semifinal match, but credit to Kim and Tegan, who stepped up their game and brought their A game in that match. Tegan leading the tournament in blocks, 24 blocks, leading the tournament in points with 145 points. And guess what? Defense travels. Kim Hurricane Hildreth, leading the tournament in digs with 65. So when you have those kind of numbers, good things are going to happen, and it's a credit to the hard work they've been putting in. They've been grinding. They've played about 8 events this year on the World Tour, and you get rewarded for traveling to events, for playing tough matches. Yes, they play some elites. They haven't won a match. No problem. They're here. They're ready to play. What happens? Boom, boom, boom. Win after win after win. End up with a bronze medal. I'm super proud of those girls. Both of those teams, friends of ours. And it was just a thrill to see them succeed. It meant a lot to both of them to be here in this moment.
A huge breakthrough for both American teams. You mentioned the big breakthrough made by the German women, Sandra Ettlinger and Kim Vandeveld. This was Kim Vandeveld's first major main draw since Stade of 2021. And by major, I mean anything over a challenge or an Elite 16 or anything 3-star or higher. And coincidentally or not, that was also the last time that she played with Sandra Ettlinger. So Kim Vandeveld is back, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to them on a 5th. Another breakthrough performance, arguably one of the biggest breakthroughs, goes to Argentina's Capagrosso brothers, Tomas and Nico. Taking some scalps.
Boy, oh boy.
This weekend, man, they take down Sharif and Ahmed in pool play. They take down for the second time this season Evandro and Arthur at home in Brazil. And Tomas got into it with the crowd, got into it with Evandro. I love to see it.
Yes.
I love to see rivalries created. Now, he was serenaded with booze for the remainder of the weekend, which made for a good emotional match, a lot of fun energy from our standpoint, because you get the booze, you get the cheers. Sweden was an adopted home team. Whoever played Argentina was the adopted home team. Wasn't the finish on the final day that they were hoping for. Played a very good match against Sweden in that bronze medal match. Took them in the first set. Had a valiant effort in the third, lost 15-11. But Tomas and Nico, I think, should walk away satisfied and pretty proud of their first Elite 16 semifinal.
Yeah, you got to give them their flowers, and they should walk away with their heads held high because they battled. We saw something, I think, from Tomas Capagrosso, a little shift in the mindset, a bit more confidence, wearing his heart on his sleeve as he does the vocal one of the brothers. And when he had that extra spark, that's when that swagger, is that when he was playing his best ball. Didn't quite see that today in our matches from him, but he proved himself already, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the Capagrossos, and it's only up from here. They're continuing to get better, and sometimes it just takes time when you're young, as Tomas is. Every match, every loss just gets you a little bit better, and that's the goal of these tournaments. 1% better every single day, and I think that's exactly what they did. Pure entertainment. And talking to one of the organizers here, he was telling the Brazilian fans, don't heckle them. Argentinians love when you heckle them. You're making them better. That was when they were playing Evandro. And then after the game, you saw Tomas Capagrosso go to the fans looking for this, silencing them.
Blowing some kisses.
Blowing some beijos to them. And Evandro had some words for him. But that is what you love to see. Rivalry is not something evil or something negative towards each other. It's just a lot of fun and a lot of competitive athletes out on the sand.
And I would go on to say that rivalry is necessary.
Yeah, it's required.
You talked to a couple fans here who said, oh, the AVP, the shove between Trevor Crabb and Chase Buttinger. Rivalries travel across seas and continents, and now we have a genuine rivalry. It makes sense to have an Argentina-Brazil rivalry.
It's crazy.
It makes sense to have a little Scandinavian rivalry, and that's what we have between Anders and Christian and David Amann and Jonathan Helvig. And it speaks to Sweden's level of play and consistency, Kyle, that they win bronze, and it's kind of like, ooh,
I know.
What happened? What happened to Sweden as their run of 11 straight finals has come to an end? It's strange to say upset by Anders Mullen, Christian Storm, but I think we've reached the point where Sweden is now the favorite in every match they play, even if that match comes against Anders and Christian. So they had to rebound and play for a bronze medal for the first time since 2022 where they are now 4-0 in bronze medal matches, 16-4 in semifinals. So when it matters, Sweden plays big.
Sweden plays big. They're the gold medalists in Paris. You and I both agree that they're the best team in this sport right now. And obviously Anders and Christian have other things to say about that, having won today. But they always put on a show. Speaking to David after the match, he was like, man, shoot me now. It's so freaking hot. I'm ready for some ice. I'm ready for some cold. And so they're cold-blooded. It runs in their veins. They don't thrive. He's like, we can't get this. And that's a challenge for a lot of these teams coming from other places. You can't replicate this heat that you have here. And so it's a balancing act. And I think that people forget that at home when they're watching. Oh, you're on the court. You should be playing just as good as the team across the net. But some of these teams live and breathe in the heat and the humidity. You saw Kim Hildreth, Tegan Van Gunst, kind of doing a lot of humid training in Florida. So credit to Sweden for coming back, bouncing back. It's not easy to do after a semifinal loss, and they take bronze, and well done for them.
And as you said, not ready to take the King's crowns just yet. Anders and Christian 6-4 in the series, and just I want to do a little note, rewind back to that matchup with Qatar. They've played Qatar 14 times. 10 of those have now gone 12 straight have gone the way of Norway. But even with 12 straight going the way of Norway, anytime you see Anders and Christian versus Sharif and Ahmed, turn on VBTV, stop what you're doing, get your popcorn ready, because something special is going to happen. Now on to a section that Kyle and I both wanted to add, some superlatives at the end of every tournament. So we're going to have two categories, an MVP, a most valuable player, most outstanding player of the tournament, however you want to call it, and a breakout player, someone who sort of rose to the top, their star ascended in this tournament. Kyle, who is your MVP? We will start with the women.
Yeah, women's MVP. It started with Victoria Lopez, and it ended, and it will be Tamila Corradelli, who 19 aces, second in the tournament. Everything she touched was pure, excellent decision-making, and she was a threat at the net and made teams very uncomfortable, and I think established herself as one of the better players, one of the best blockers, one of the young blockers that we have in the game.
And I would have to agree. You originally went with Victoria Lopez, and I think Victoria gets sort of MVP 1A here because she was so crisp and controlled with everything that she did. But I think blockers, that's the first line of defense. And I think with the way that Tamila was blocking, particularly in the quarterfinal, semis, and finals, made Victoria's job as a defender that much easier. Her setting was perfect in transition for Victoria. You mentioned the ace count, number one in aces per match at 2.71. Her blocking was just behind Tegan. She was up there in the top 5 in the tournament. I think that Tamila gets the MVP from me as well. As for your breakthrough player for the women.
Breakthrough player for the women is Tegan Van Gunst. I think she showed what is possible for her at a blocker at her height, her decision-making, her pull digging. I think it overlooked is her ability to come off the net in some of these windy conditions. She's got beautiful hands, and her stats, like I said, she was first in blocks. She was first in total points scored, and so you can't fault her. And credit to her partner, Kim, and her. I'd love to give Kim some flowers as well for providing that support system. It's a team game, but Tegan Van Gunst, I thought she was phenomenal. That is my breakthrough woman athlete. Your breakthrough?
Can't argue the pick, and I might try to cheat here and go with Lexi Dianaberg.
Yeah.
Is that possible? It's difficult to choose between Lexi Denneberg and Deanna Kraft because they're both making their Elite 16 debuts here in Joao Passoa, and both of them were spectacular. 4 of the 5 statistical categories were led by one of the 2 of them.
Wild.
And Lexi Denneberg leading in blocks, leading in aces. Deanna Kraft was leading in scoring and kills. Don't know if she ended that way. But they just played a fantastic tournament, and my heart has to go with Lexi Denneberg in this one because she really hasn't had the career that Deanna has had yet on the Beach Pro Tour. I think less people knew her name than they knew Deanna's, and she comes out, and she was a baller. And you could see the swagger in their quarterfinal win over Brazil at night in Brazil, hushing the crowd. What you got to say to me after another ace? Leading the count in aces, very high up there in blocks. I thought Lexi was spectacular, and MVP or breakout player 1A for the women for me goes to Deanna Kraft. Well played for both of you. Career high finishes. A huge congratulations.
Yes, indeed. So that brings us to our breakthrough men's player.
Breakthrough men's player. I'm in between 2, and I'm going to go with Tomas Capogrosso. I have been practicing and playing against Tomas since we were both on the Future One Star circuit, and I knew, it's you see something special. You see someone's arm swing and you think he's going to get it.
Yeah.
And Tomas is one of my favorite arm swings on the Beach Pro Tour. So smooth. And I remember one of my favorite moments of Tomas. We were both playing in the Tlaxcala Challenge a couple years ago. Me and Tim Brewster were the 31 seed. We win our first qualifier match. We go down to watch Nico and Tomas playing against our fellow Americans, Logan Weber and Miles Evans. And it's 13-12 in the third set. And Tomas, as he's making the switch, he looks at me and he goes, and just gives me a wink. And I thought, man, this kid has some swagger. And he has it in abundance. Now, I think he is about 1 year's worth of experience at this level from being a truly elite defender. But I think if anybody who watched Tomas play this weekend, they know that he is a special talent. He has such a steadying force in older brother Nico, who is just Mr. Smooth and consistent.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you there. My breakthrough athlete is Tomas Capagrosso as well. And I agree with everything you said there. He's got that swagger. He's got that eye of the tiger going for him, and his game is fluid. It's sexy. It's, he's got the confidence, and he's ready to rise to the moment. And he just needs more matches like he had today. More tournaments, more wins, more losses to help him get to that next level. And they're on the right track. They're playing great volleyball, some of their best to date.
Some of the best to date. And so since we both agreed, I want to shout out one more player that both of us were wildly impressed with, and that is Hugo Campos of Portugal. Mm-hmm. They broke pool for the first time of their careers in the Elite 16, and their match against Hendrik Moll and Matthias Berntsen eventually won by Norway to win pool for the first time of their careers, take a fifth match in their career high in Elite 16. Congratulations to Norway, one of many breakout finishes. Very impressed with Hugo Campos, that Portuguese team, a little bit undersized, but very delightful to watch.
Hugo Campos leading the tournament in aces.
Wow.
And he stopped playing yesterday.
Took a ninth,
right? And still led the tournament, I believe, in aces. And he was so speedy. He's got boosties. He's got calves of steel, staying low to the ground, making these crazy moves. And we've seen them play before, but it just seemed like they had a little breakthrough moment as well.
Indeed. And that is all we have.
Did we talk men's MVP?
Oh, men's MVP.
Yeah, men's MVP. Oh, my goodness.
That's why I got Kyle here.
Yeah,
men's MVP. Who you got, Kyle, friend?
My men's MVP, Anders Moll. Like Christian Sorum said, he was a game changer today, as we've seen many, many times. Again, right when they needed big blocks, when they needed big plays, he came through in the clutch. The optioning was as if he needed to add more layers, as if Norway needed to add more layers to the game. They do now because Sweden has leveled them up just slightly. And so we saw the option more from Anders Moll, and I bet if there was a statistic on his options, about 90% in this tournament, maybe throughout the playoffs here, because it was so efficient. Again, 7 blocks in the finals, 35 total blocks for the tournament, 10 more than Sharif, who also made it to that final round. So they played the same amount, maybe 1 or 2 sets more. Either way, 35 blocks, massive performance. Who's your MVP?
Anders being Anders. At the risk of being redundant, I will not choose Anders, even though, yes, that's my vote. I'm picking Anders. But I want to give a huge credit to Sharif Yunus. I think this is the best tournament I've seen him play in quite some time, maybe this year.
Yep.
He was outstanding. MVP from the crowd, for sure. The adopted son of Joao Passoa is Sharif Yunus, and I think that they were back on the podium because of his control. We talked about it a lot. The team who hit the fewest amount of errors, generally the team who won this weekend on a very breezy and hot atmosphere in Joao Passoa. And Sharif in the quarterfinals, 1 error. Sharif in the semifinals, 1 error. That is not to take away from anything that Ahmed Tijan did. He was spectacular as well. But I think that Sharif was phenomenal. Anders, yes, you do get my MVP vote, but 1A, Sharif Yunus.
And I agree, Sharif, I don't know if you can look back at a men's semifinal match or quarterfinal match and see an attacker with 10 or more points and say they only had 1 attacking error. I'm sure we'd have to look way, way back in the record books to see that. And so efficiency in this chaos, credit to Sharif and Qatar taking silver medal. Amazing tournament by them.
So congratulations to all of our medalists. Congratulations especially to the gold medal winners, Victoria Lopez and Tamla Patabanes, Anders Moll and Christian Sorum, back-to-back golds for the first time in 2 calendar years.
Woo.
That's all we got on the card. Now before we go, I want to give some extra thanks to the people behind the cameras and behind the scenes. Kyle and I are the ones on the mic and we're the ones on the camera, and it looks like we're doing way more work than we are, and I promise you the people behind the scenes are doing 10x what we're doing. You know our guy Daniel Freitas, Frito, La Machina, Translito, especially when we are in Brazil and Portuguese is required. Everett Delorme, a lot of the content that you will see, a lot of the interviews that are being cut with video, that is all Everett. And I hope that you guys are enjoying the additional types of content that we're putting out on the beach volleyball world. I think that everyone's done a fantastic job. And then behind the scenes, plugged up in an office all day, running at least, I don't know, conventionally 800 different Instagram accounts. Goes to Sol de Diego and Cidronio Henrique, a Joao Passoa historian. So everything that we do is a massive credit to everyone behind the scenes. I wanted to make sure that everyone's getting their flowers and we're getting our champagne. Cheers, saúde, boa noite, and ciao ciao for now.
Bye.